I think that the move and suggestion to pardon him speaks to the outright bias, bigotry, and hate of some. For you to see that tape, I mean, we're not talking about somebody's eyewitness. We're talking about a video that we all saw. And a jury, I was there at the trial, families there at the trial, Ben Crump was there at the trial. A jury, not from the ward that George grew up in, from all over the county, found the policemen guilty, all three. Yeah. We were all together that night and heard the verdict. And for them to pardon a brutal, ruthless killer, to even suggest that, shows us the ruthlessness, and the president should not entertain it. Luckily, as God would have it, going back to the voting question, we had got a special prosecutor, and they were convicted on state charges. So even if they give some reason to pardon them, they will not get out of jail, because we had elected officials there that got a sentence that cannot be reversed by the federal government.
I was wondering if, you've mentioned several different policies and laws and things coming up. Would you mind helping us hit the marks? What are the policies you want to see changed? What are the laws you'd like to see passed?
George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which would be the policy of having oversight over police, cameras on police, being able to recall police, limit whether they can use chokeholds, and how we have a civilian review over policing, where there's a checks and balance. All of that is in the George Floyd Justice and Policing database. And the database that we continue to be able to, one of the things they're trying to eliminate is the database, so that a police officer, as in the case in Tulsa, can go from one police district to another.
And Sonia Massey.
And Sonia Massey, it happened in Illinois. We need to have a database where you cannot, when you're found to be guilty of a crime or even using extreme force, go to another county and get a job.
Salonis, you want to say something about that?
Hey, I want everybody to know, if they can make federal laws to protect the bird, then they can make federal laws to protect people of color. May 25th, my brother was murdered for the world to see. That was a modern day lynching, and everybody's seen that. So that's why people stood all around the world for George, because that was a tragedy. A guy sat on my brother's neck for over 9 minutes, and he had a demonic face. You can look at him the way he was on his neck, like he was a big game hunter. And my brother said he couldn't breathe multiple times. People tried to get into it and say, hey, let him go. They had an EMT person on site, and she was telling them that they hurting him and they killing him. You had a UFC fighter guy. He was there talking about what they were doing. He knew the code and everything that they were doing. And you had somebody who was older that was there who seen all of this from Emmett Till on up. But for me to see some kids there who were filming everything, that touched me more than anything, because not only their kids, but the people all around the world kids had to go through that. And you had to go in there and talk to your own kids, not just people of color, but people that were Caucasian. You had to let them know that was what was going on. Because at the end of the day, he was a human being. His life mattered. All our lives matter. People of color lives matter. So let's stick to this movement and stick to the script. We're not going to give up. We're going to continue to fight. That's what we're going to stand on. 10 toes. We're not moving. Here we are, right now. Bring it. There you go.
Evan Garcia with Reuters. 5 years later, how would you like George to be remembered?
I think that we want George Floyd to be remembered as the one that changed in a permanent way policing. We do not in any way entertain the thought of stopping until we make federal law. We want George Floyd to be remembered as the one that changed the law. You know, Emmett Till was killed, and a year later, the Montgomery bus boycott started. They had to march on Washington in August of '63 couple of months later, they bombed the Birmingham church. It was the bombing and killing of those 4 girls that led to the '64 Civil Rights Act. It was the beating of John Lewis and Hosea Williams and Miss Boynton, Amelia Boynton, on the Edmund Pettus Bridge that led to the '65 Voting Rights Act. It's always a tragedy that leads to permanent change. We want George Floyd to be remembered as the one that changed policing for the rest of the history of this country.
Amen.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I know it's just a little bit. But I'm just saying.
Congresswoman Ron Reynolds. Commissioner Christian.
Right here.
I know.
Okay, here we go, you guys. Stay there. Thank you.
You okay, Rachel?